What's up, guys? Today is a huge day. Why? Because I'm sitting at 6 Media and I have right here a next shift mansbreak, and we're gonna be putting that on his orange 5th gen Camaro today. So it's a legendary day in history. The first transbrake that's not on my own personal car is going on a customer's car. It happens to be a great friend of mine and the guy that helped me get started on YouTube, and that's Gavin. And we're gonna get this mansbrake put on his car, make him a believer, show him how awesome this thing is and what it does, and get straight to it.
I haven't started this car in like, I don't even know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month.
Fingers crossed.
Here we go.
Alright guys, so today is a really exciting day for me and for Next Shift. I feel like I've hit a milestone because finally the first transbrake besides my own car is going in a buddy of mine's car. It's just a 6. He has a 5th gen Camaro that is absolutely nasty. It's Pro Charged, it's got a big cam in it. It sounds super mean. I know y'all heard it on the cold start at the beginning of this video, but we're going to get the mansbrake put into this car today. Come over to Gavin's shop, brought him all the Next Shift goodies. We're gonna get all these put in the car, and I'm gonna show y'all guys how to do that, step-by-step instruction. And after that, we're gonna go test this thing on the street, and I'm gonna show him what a stick shift car really should leave like after you put a mansbrake in it. First, there's some things you need to know about the mansbrake. It is a device that is meant to slip your clutch. It is going to prematurely wear your clutch out. It's just kind of one of the trade-offs. If you want to be fast, if you want to be consistent, it's gonna happen regardless of you using the mansbrake or not, but it's just something you need to know. So whenever you buy the mansbrake, you're going to have your mansbrake, then you're gonna have these 2 pigtail connections. They should be with your mansbrake. These are gonna go to the wiring harness that is connected to your relay. So you'll have your relay and you will have your wiring harness. This is your wiring harness for your relay. You should have 2 90-degree 1/8" fittings that screw into the top of the mansbrake. You don't have to use these. These are going to help depending on where you decide to locate your mansbrake in your car. These could definitely help you if you decide to mount it on the firewall. That way your hoses just run straight into it. Makes for a nice, clean, easy, simple install. Also, if you decided to get the fittings to make this work, for example, these are some Earl's Dash 4 fittings that we're going to be using for the Camaro that's right behind me. So these fittings actually plug right into your stock clutch line. Your clutch line on most vehicles these days and age have a E-clip. So you just pull the E-clip out, push this fitting in, return the E-clip back into the stock position, and now you have adapted it to a AN style end. We offer our own line kits. If you bought those lines for your vehicle, then you have them. If not, then you'll be able to go get your lines made for wherever you decide to mount your mansbrake. Also, if you've got a button, you're going to need one of those because this is a transbrake. You're going to be able to leave off of a button now. Foot on the clutch is a thing of the past. All you have to do is set a clutch engagement with a button. You don't have to worry about your clutch foot anymore. Take that foot, put it on the brake pedal, and you hold the car still so it doesn't try to lunge forward. If you need to bump into the beam, into the light, you let off the brake to allow your car to bump in and stage into the light. Whenever it's time to go, you let go of the transbrake and your foot brake at the same time. It allows the car to leave smoothly and exactly the same every single time. Depending on where you set your clutch, it's a good idea to be able to monitor clutch position. Some vehicles are equipped with a clutch position sensor, and if you have one of those, you can actually monitor your clutch position. So if you have that, it would be a great idea to use it. If you don't have that, you can always use a pressure switch in the clutch line and monitor it and set your clutch at the same exact engagement every single time, so your results are very similar every single time. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing put on the car. I'm gonna show you all the steps to do so. Very simple, shouldn't take too long. Let's get right to it. So the first things first, you're going to try to decide on a location on where you can mount your mansbrake. It is universal. It could be mounted virtually anywhere. You can mount this thing in the trunk if you would like. You can mount it in the cab if you would like, but I don't recommend it. It's best just to keep it in engine bay, keep things nice, short, simple, clean. The shorter you can make your clutch lines, the easier it is going to be to bleed. Whenever this whole setup is completely installed, you have to re-bleed your clutch, and you're gonna have to keep that in mind whenever you're installing it. In this Camaro, there is a few places. We could mount it down here. We could mount it down here below the air filter. We could mount it up here. It really doesn't matter. We're gonna pick a place and get the mansbrake mounted up. We have the mansbrake installed in Gavin's Camaro now. So what we did here was install the mansbrake right here up against this shock tower. We'll drill drilled through and through holes through the shock tower, got bolts that are long enough to go completely through the mansbrake, and put a backing nut on the opposite side and just secured it to this shock tower right here. This is a nice place. It's convenient. It's close to your master cylinder, so you can run your line from your clutch master over to your in port, and from your out port to your slave down there on the trans. Very easy. It's very nice and accessible. You can get out of the vehicle, come around here, make adjustments as needed, and it's very conveniently placed. This is an ideal spot to mount your mansbrake. If you have room right here, if you've got room back here, that's a nice spot. Up here on the firewall, it's a nice spot. But this is how we did it in this 5th gen. You can do it however you would like it. It's very universal. You can mount it wherever you would like. So at this point, we're going to locate our clutch line coming from the master cylinder, which in this 5th gen Camaro, I'm pretty sure is back here. So we'll move these wires and stuff out of the way, and we'll locate our clutch line, which on this car, it's gonna be this hard line right here. I don't know if you can see, but there's a hard line right there. There's an E-clip that holds it into place back there. We're gonna pop that E-clip out, and then we're gonna go over here to our box, and if you got the fittings for your vehicle, so this is what the fitting looks like. It is basically just an adapter. So this will plug into the stock master. I'll slide the E-clip back in place, and now it has an AN adapted end. So we'll be able to take our clutch line, screw it on, and run it from here to the mansbrake on the import. So we're gonna go ahead and get that part done next. All right guys, so I was able just to get to this fitting right here with my fingers and pop that E-clip up, and we have our stainless braided line that we had made for this Camaro in this application. It's really a good idea to go ahead and tighten this fitting up right here and put your adapter fitting on it, and then you can go ahead and route it this way. You can see down here, we just plugged it in, and then we'll snap our little clip back into place, and now this clutch line goes straight to your mansbrake. This is gonna go to your import. So we'll route this around here. We're gonna put those 90-degree fittings in here, and this one will just go right there to your import. And then we're going to do the same thing and run from your out down to your slave here on your trans. So we'll just lift the car up and then go to the location underneath the car where it has a fitting, plug our adapter into that one, and run our other line back up here and put it into the out port. The direction of fluid is flowing in and then out. So from your clutch master going in here, coming out, going to your slave cylinder down there on the trans. So we're going to lift the car up, get the other fitting put into place, and run our line back up here, and then all the hydraulic work will pretty much be done, and the rest of it will just be wiring. Guys, I can't even begin to explain to y'all how excited I am. This is such a huge move for me. For next shift, this is an accomplishment. I've got my own product on another person's vehicle. This is something I've always dreamed of. I always thought that I would be able to invent something as a kid. I never knew that I was going to get into hot rods and then have all kinds of problems launching my own stick shift car, and I could never get it to work right, and I was constantly breaking things, and I was just like, yo, I just wanted to go fast. I just wanted to be able to launch my stick car. You know, I enjoyed shifting gears going down the street. I didn't want to sacrifice that by putting an automatic in it just to be able to leave hard or leave fast and smooth without breaking things. I had so many issues, and one day I was like, you know what, I gotta fix this. So that's how the idea of the mansbrake actually came up, is because I got tired of having the own problems for myself. So I created something that would solve my problems. That in turn led to a product that would be able to fix many people's problems, and I'm so blessed to be able to be here right now. I thank God for the ideas every day and the opportunities that He gives me, and I pray that He allows me to take advantage of those opportunities to the fullest. Guys, if you got a dream, chase that dream, because dreams do come true. Dreams are jobs. If you work hard at your job, you'll make it somewhere. You're not gonna start off just, you know, killing it and just making the most amount of money at work and living out, you know, your best life. No, it takes time, and dreams do too, guys. These things don't happen overnight. I've been developing this thing for over a year now, and I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life for years and years now, and finally I came up with Next Shift and the mansbrake, and it's much bigger than just the mansbrake, but it's a huge milestone and accomplishment for me. I sure do appreciate everybody's support, and I hope that the things that I've created could help other people in the future, you know, overcome their problems, and maybe even those guys that are wanting to make the swap to auto, but they really just don't want to deep down inside. They can just get one of these, and it would at least tide them over and allow them to be able to enjoy their stick shift car like they want to. We're gonna get this thing wrapped up. We've got a little bit of wiring to do. Get back at y'all in just a minute. So we've got the car up in the air, and just as we did up top, we undid this little E-clip connection, pulled our factory line back, and then we have our new line with our adapter fitting on the end of it right here already. And what we can do is plug our our new fitting right into the factory location, and then push our E-clip back into place. And then now this is our new clutch line, and that is going to run up to the top and go into the out port of the mansbrake. So the fluid is going to be coming out of the master cylinder, going into the mansbrake, and then out of the out port, moving back and into the slave. So this line goes to the out port of the mansbrake. We're going to pull this down. We don't want it to get in any shape or form hot. This is a clutch line. It does not need to melt. So we're going to route this away from our exhaust pipe, get it up nice and neat through there. It'd be a good idea to tuck the edge of this, maybe even behind our heat shield. And then once we get up there, we'll secure it back into place with some zip ties. That way it won't fall down and get on the exhaust and cause any issues later in the future. So everything that we need to do under the car is pretty much done. This is our factory clutch line. It's obsolete. We don't even need this right now. That is one of the great things about whenever you get a mansbrake, you get to upgrade all the lines for the whole clutch system, so everything's actually free-flowing a lot better than it was from the factory. These stainless braided lines are a little bit bigger in diameter than these small hard lines that come factory from Ford and GM, etc. So whenever you get the mansbrake and you put new lines on your vehicle, everything actually works a little bit better. All the fluid, there's more volume, there's more space for the fluid to flow freely through the whole system. We're done underneath the car. We're gonna get this thing back on the ground, get it plugged up on the mansbrake, and then the rest of everything that we have to do is just be wiring and bleeding the system, and we'll be done. Here we go. Out with the old. We don't need that old restrictive piece anymore, and in with the new. Everything that we got in here now is all this nice stainless braided line. It looks better, you can route it cleaner and easier, and it flows better. It's just a better system. All right guys, so a little bit closer look into the parts of the mansbrakes. Now, since this mansbrake didn't actually already have these installed, which these are my 90-degree fittings that I'm going to be installing to make the install just cleaner, and these are going to come with each order, probably going to be already installed into the mansbrake. The reason being is because you actually have to take the flow control device out to install it. While I was here, I figured I'd show y'all basically what it looks like inside. If you unscrew this and just examine it, everything about this mansbrake is actually really nice quality. All the parts to this are actually made really nice. So this is the flow control valve. So your fluid comes through there, and then it's flow controlled through that little port right there. So it has O-rings that seal off into the cavities of the valve block right here. It actually diverts fluid through this flow control device right here, this needle valve, and whenever it diverts the fluid through that, it slows it down, speeds it up. It's all adjustable via this knob right here. So you can adjust how fast or slow your clutch is slipping, and it'll slip the exact same way every time. So I just wanted to give y'all kind of just a little inside peek of what it looks like on the inside just of one of these. It's really nicely machined. All the parts are made here in the USA. I just wanted to take that off, show y'all guys the inside of it. So we're gonna go ahead and install these 90-degree fittings right here and get it all buttoned back up, get our lines connected. All right guys, so we got everything buttoned up out here. All the hydraulics are in place, coming out of the master cylinder, from the slave cylinder, all goes to the mansbrake. All that's done. Only thing left to do is just wiring. So we're gonna go over here and get our little pigtails that it comes with. These are actually pretty nice. They're weather pack connectors, nice rubber seal. It's got a nice nylon wire loom with heat shrink ends. What's nice about these is these are just plug and play. So you just come down here at the bottom of the mansbrake, and then they're both the same on each side. So you plug one in, and then you can plug your second one in to your second solenoid. It doesn't matter which one you ground. You need to ground one off of each solenoid. It doesn't matter which wire you decide to ground from the wiring harness. You just need to ground one of them. Pick a chassis ground for these. The other ones we're going to route inside, and it's going to go to our relay. I'll show you where those go next. All right, next up we have our relay. I like to mount these closer to the mansbrake because the mansbrake already has pigtails and harnesses coming off the bottom side, and it just makes it easier if you can mount this kind of close. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have these two switches right here to the on position. If you read the instructions on the relay, this is a time delayed off relay. On and on is 0 to 5 seconds. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So I'll show you how to set the dial up here in just a second. But basically you'll just count the clicks on the dial to allow for the allotted amount of seconds you want your clutch to slip. Whenever you release the transbrake button, this is going to hold the flow control on for an allotted amount of seconds. Whenever this times out, so say if you have it set to 2 seconds, after 2 seconds this is going to time out and it's going to release the flow control. That way you're able to push your clutch pedal down without any restraint, and fluid will be moving freely in and out of the mansbrake. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing mounted, and then we're going to get it wired up. So guys, I got the relay mounted right here. I like to keep it relatively close to the mansbrake because it comes with this relay harness, and the mansbrake obviously obviously comes with its own pigtails and harness, if you will. So if you can keep it all close to one another, you know, it makes wiring a little bit simpler and go by a little bit faster. So just a couple tips and tricks, like, you know, one wire off of each solenoid has to be grounded. So what I did was, there's actually a nice ground stud on the frame right here, and then obviously we need to ground our black wire coming from our relay. So I stripped back this harness from the mansbreak, and I put all 3 wires into one ground, and then I'm going to ground that to the chassis just like so. So that takes care of all 3 of our grounds. We're gonna have one here at the relay and one off of each solenoid. So now that takes care of our grounds, we can move on to the next one. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna take the remaining wire, the one that's not grounded, that's coming from the harness directly below the out port. You're gonna take that wire and go straight to the yellow wire off the relay. So take the yellow wire off the relay, and it needs to go to the one that's left under the out port at the DTAF-2 solenoid. So hook these 2 together, and then we'll get to the next one. All right, guys, so next what you're gonna do is take the blue wire, and this is your constant 12 volts. So we're gonna give this blue wire a constant 12 volt source. So this car, there is actually a 12 volt source right here beside where I'm putting the mansbreak. So we're gonna put our 12 volt source right here to the relay. Next, from your relay, you're gonna run it to the only wire you have left on this pigtail, and you take this wire and go straight to the white wire. And this white wire is also your transbrake signal. Whenever you hook this one up right here, you'll be able to piggyback the white wire with the transbrake solenoid wire, which is this one right here. So you'll combine these 2 wires, your transbrake solenoid and your trigger wire, and you'll run this inside the car to the button, and the other side of the button to a 12 volt switch. After that, your wiring is going to be complete. You need to make sure you have your green grounds, the white wire to the DTAF-1 solenoid, the yellow wire to the DTAF-2 solenoid, also hooked to your button on the inside of the car, and that would wrap up wiring for all this. All right, guys, so on the last connection, it's going to be the white wire right here, plus the only wire you have left coming from the solenoid directly below the in port. So under the in port, you'll have one wire left, the other one has been grounded. You're gonna take this connection, and we've already ran a wire from inside the car. This is actually going straight from your transbrake. So this is coming straight from your button, your activation from the button itself. So we're gonna hook this wire up to this one, and then get the button installed inside the car, and then all the electrical stuff will be pretty much done. So I just pulled the wire loom back on the harness that comes with the mansbrake and made my connection there. Slide the wire loom back over it to make a nice clean install. We'll pull the rest of the wire back inside the car, get it ran to the button, and then we'll be done here. We'll have to bleed the whole system to get all the air out of the system. Keep in mind, you're installing a good, 2 foot of extra line that doesn't have any fluid in it. So what we're gonna have to do is get inside the car, probably have to pump our clutch, bleed it the old fashioned way, or you can also get a vacuum pump and hook your vacuum pump up straight up to the reservoir and pull air from the system that way. There's a couple ways to do it. One thing is that you're gonna have to remember to do is whenever you pull all the air out of the system, you're gonna have to actuate these solenoids. So you're gonna have to get inside the car and hit your button and continue to pull air out, because there's certain passageways inside the mansbrake that are not open yet, so there still is air in there. So whenever you're bleeding the clutch, you're gonna have to make sure you actuate the button to make sure you get every little last bit of air out. Yeah. All right, guys, so now we got everything in engine bay. We're gonna go ahead and get our button. It doesn't matter what style button you use. If you buy it from Next Shift, that's great, thank you. But if you don't, you can use any button as long as it's a momentary switch. We're gonna use this Motion Raceworks button that I picked up, and I'm actually probably gonna start carrying these on the website so you can get this as well whenever you buy the mansbrake. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 12 volt positive, you're gonna run it to one wire on the button, and then the other side you're gonna hook it up to the other wire that we just ran inside the car. All right, so over here we took our fuse box panel off and we found ourselves a 12 volt switch. So basically that means whenever we turn the key on, this wire is hot. We're gonna go ahead and run a wire over to the button for this switch. One side of the button is gonna get this wire, the other side is gonna get the wire coming from the engine bay. Now you're gonna wanna take the biggest, most obnoxious power drill available and just go ham on your interior. No, but for real though, so you're gonna want to get your drill and drill you a hole out for your button, or if you've got another place for a button, then you use that place. It doesn't really matter where you mount your button. In this case, we have a spot in the center console, so upon Gavin's request, there was already an empty hole here. It just needs to be a little bit bigger to fit the new button that we have, so we're gonna drill it out, get the new button in, and this thing will be wrapped up. Trying to be extra careful with Gavin's car here. We don't want to actually mess anything up. All right, let's try her now. See if she'll go in there. We're gonna have to go one step bigger. Oh man, one last attempt. Surely to be success this time. Perfect. All right, guys. So we're gonna get our button mounted, get the 2 wires hooked up, and we're gonna get the clutch system bled. And this thing will be ready to go and make perfect launches. All right, guys. So we got the interior wrapped up. As you can see, we got the button mounted right there in the center console. It's all nice and clean. And we just gave her a test, and everything's working just as it's supposed to. One thing about the mansbrake is you're obviously gonna need to bleed your clutch system and get all the air out of the lines. How we did this one, I thought we were gonna have to bleed this whole car, but we ended up just being able to refill the reservoir and pump the clutch probably about 50 or 60 times, and the clutch came to life and it was just fine. So everything's working like it should. We'll probably give this thing some fine adjustment, get it working exactly how we want it to. As for right now, you can come inside the car with me and I'll show you exactly what it does. Everything's on a 12-volt ignition, so you turn your key over. We've got our button mounted right here, got our clutch right there. It's operational just as it should be. So just imagine you push the clutch in and then you come press the button, go back to the clutch. Clutch stays right there until I let go of the button right now, and then it just starts slipping back. Push the button and you can watch the clutch. It'll slowly slip out when I release it right now. And then that's the second solenoid cutting off, so you have enough time to slam the clutch back down to shift your car into second. So all in all, everything's working just as it should. Let's get another view from the side more so y'all can see how it works. So we're gonna push the clutch down, and then we're gonna get over here, get on the button. Then we can take our foot completely off the clutch. Now whenever I let off the button, it'll slowly come back up to you. Easy as that. All right, guys, so yesterday we did the mansbrake install on Gavin's 5th gen Camaro, and today we're gonna be testing it out. I'm excited. This is a huge moment, and I got Gavin a little surprise. Brought him, this is a Draggy. So basically, this is a device that you can put in your car, and it uses GPS to allow you to track your track times just like you were at the track. Since all the COVID and everything is going on right now, we really don't have the opportunity to just be at the track all willy-nilly just whenever we'd please. So got him this, that way we could track some track times, see exactly how he's going to improve using the mansbrake, so he can get some good real-world data that's actually usable, so you can see the difference between with a mansbrake and without a mansbrake on your stick shift car. So let's get to that. Got something for us. This is going to help us out today. If I can get it out of my back pocket sometime today.
Is it a new phone? Oh
nah, bro.
Sean, you have to do that.
It's a Draggy, bro.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Wait. What? Okay, that's pretty dope.
So now you can actually had track times.
I have never even used one of these.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be pretty accurate. It's yours now.
Huh?
Yeah, it's yours.
Fuck no.
No, you keep it in the orange car or wherever. Just wherever you got a mansbrake. That way you can show people if they're ever in your car, be like, yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Appreciate it, dude.
For sure.
Thank you. I actually, no kidding, I've been wanting one of these for
hey, that's, yeah, same.
like a long time, and I just never would bite the bullet and order one.
I don't know how to install it. I think it's pretty simple. Man, that thing just looks sick right there sitting by that Pro Charger. All right, guys, so yesterday we got the install finished up on Gavin's Camaro. As you can see, it's nice and clean right here next to the Pro Charger. It's very easily accessible, so if you need to make adjustments, you can just get out of your driver's seat, walk around, and make an adjustment right there on top. And then, yeah, I'll take you all to the cockpit of the car, and I'll show you exactly how this thing works. It's pretty simple. So just get in and act like basically we're on the street and we're about to do a dig launch. Everything's on a 12-volt ignition, so you just turn the key on. So the clutch feels normal, just like it should. And then we push the clutch down, like right about here. Say the car's in first, and we grab our button. This is the button we installed. So we just press our button, come over here to our clutch. We let off the clutch is gonna stay right there. As soon as I let off the button, it's gonna slowly slip back to you. So that is simulated launch. We're actually gonna go do that here in just a second, show you how it works and how it just launches the car smoothly. The great thing about this is it's set the same way every time, so you don't have to worry about it being different the next time. You just need to be able to get your clutch engagement as close as possible, that way it leaves exactly the same way every single time. So we're gonna take you guys out to the street real quick and show you how that works. Hey, GoPro gang. Hey.
GoPro on the head, squad.
Yeah. You ready to make manuals great again?
Absolutely. Make manuals great again. How it goes. I have not gotten to drive this car so long, dude, because of the hurricane and stuff.
Oh man, the hurricane messed everything up.
Yeah.
There's still trees down everywhere around us.
Damn, I'm excited. This is the first time that we're going to be able to see how quick this thing can launch on stock everything.
Yeah.
Last time that I wanted to go launch this car, I was worried about the fact that it was going to break everything. But Sean was like, I got something for you. We're gonna test that out real quick. These rear ends are pretty much like glass. So it's either gonna break or it's gonna stay together and we're gonna get a pretty cool time out of it. So
yeah.
We'll see.
And you know, we're out here doing this today, but it takes a lot more than just a couple of, you know, street hits, you know, to actually tune in a car. You know, it takes time and effort. We're gonna see if we can get it tuned in pretty quick, so. Oh, this would be our luck. It's gonna rain on us as soon as we get to the spot. Oh man.
If it would stop right now, it's still good enough. It'll hook.
Yeah.
Probably.
Good old Mother Nature has pulled through again. Guess I don't need this GoPro for action shots. So what now?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know.
New promotion. Mansbreak worked so good, you can launch your car in the rain. At least get the feel of it and see exactly how you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. We're not gonna do any crazy launching or anything like that, but this is gonna be more of just testing how it works.
Put it in first.
Let off.
Let off till it starts moving. All right, push down. No, too much,
Right,
too much. Let out. All right, barely a little bit
Right
in. Yeah, press the button. Now hold the button. See if the car moves. No, it's not set right.
Dude, come on.
Hey, the skies look blue that way though.
Whenever people ask me all the time, they're like, why are videos delayed? It's because 4 days out of the week it's raining just like this, so we have to have videos that are recorded previously so that we can upload on time every week.
All right, here goes nothing. Back again today. About to send this thing. All right, remember. Oh,
I just broke it. That quick.
golly. You were trying to do a burnout? Damn.
Yep, she broke. Holy.
I don't think that's an axle.
That did not sound like an axle at all.
I literally-
That sounded very much different than an axle.
Sounded like a diff?
That didn't even sound like a diff.
Sound like
I
either,
didn't hear a
that sound like
single thing.
input
It
should.
sounded like an input shaft.
I heard it rev up and then rev down, and that was it.
That is very, very unfortunate.
What is that?
What is that? What is that?
Fucking axle band for the axle band. I don't even want to look under there. Yeah, buddy.
Oh man, that is just lovely.
Take two of us getting stuck out here.
Dude, I'm sorry, man. We were able to get a couple of good launches out of it yesterday, but unfortunately it started raining before we were able to fully get it dialed in. And then today we went out there and broke an axle. It's just one thing after another. The odds are not in our favor, but we're gonna get y'all content that you want. We're gonna get you some proof of this thing actually working great. If you wanna see that, you can go to my Instagram at NextShift, the same as the YouTube page, and see a couple of videos of it working on the roulette vet before I took the vet apart and started rebuilding it to, you know, meet my new goals this year. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, subscribe. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.